Can we talk about leaving the faith? Because we often, speaking of unorthodox, we hear so many stories about people who leave the faith, who are, you know, telling their story from the outside, and we don't hear the story from people on the inside. And you have, can I say someone,
Sure.
your son,
My son, my youngest son, my Yoeli,
he left.
my baby.
How old
when he
was
was
he
19 years old,
when he was 19 years old, he left?
he didn't tell me anything. But one morning I wake up and I find out that he belongs to a heavy metal band and he's the drummer.
You didn't know at all?
I knew nothing.
You didn't know he was drumming?
I knew nothing. And he's dressed like heavy metal guys.
Which means what? Eyeliner?
No, he wasn't gothic. He was just dressed like they're dressed. Not Hasidic. Let's put it this way. Not Hasidic.
Did he shave his pious?
No. He's still doing both.
I see.
He's going out with heavy metal guys, putting on probably a cap or something to hide his pious. And if I tell you that I was shocked is not the word. It was beyond shocked and devastated beyond words. Yoeli and I had such a wonderful relationship. We were so intertwined, we were so close. I'm talking about as a child. I'm not talking about him at this age. We did see that when he was about 15, 16 years old, he started to withdraw, and he stayed a lot in his own room, and he didn't, let's say Shabbos by the table, he didn't talk to us. He looked unhappy, very unhappy. So we tried to get help for him. We tried to send him for therapy.
But there was no sign that there was a religious element to this?
Never. And he resisted the therapy, but we pressured him so much he went for therapy. And I was at that stage in my life where my daughters were getting married and having babies and having nausea and having all kind of issues. When you have married daughters, you are very, very, very busy with them. You know, I told you, we all stayed together. And Yoeli sort of fell through the cracks because he didn't make noise. He didn't say anything. He didn't act out. He was withdrawn. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like it, and I was worried about it. And so I tried, but because he wasn't a squeaky wheel, let's put it this way. My daughters were very squeaky wheels. So when he was 19 and he changed into this clothing, this hit us like a thunderbolt.
You just woke up one day and he changed clothing?
No, he went into the boiler room and he went outside to the guys. He changed his clothing. He went downstairs into the boiler room with his Hasidic clothing, changed in the boiler room, and went outside on the street to these guys.
And you noticed?
My daughter tells me, Mommy, look out the window.
Your daughter lives nearby?
Yeah. Mommy, look out the window. I just was like, you know, when you don't know how to react. You don't know what this is. When he came home, I asked him, Yoeli, what, you know?
Did he come home changed?
Changed in the boiler room. Came upstairs. And I said, and I mean, my husband and I were so devastated. We simply didn't know how to eat this. How do you deal with it? I didn't know anybody who was child went OTD at that time. I didn't consider him OTD yet. I considered that something happened to him, that he's doing these funny things, you know. So he told me he joined a heavy metal band and he listens to heavy metal music, and he didn't talk about religion. But
were you confrontational towards him?
Never. But he did, you know, with time, I realized that kid is completely not religious anymore. Even though he was living at home, participating in Shabbos, participating in Yontiv, and never had arguments at home. Never, but my husband and I went to pieces. So my husband cried a lot. And he said the entire cipher to Tehillim every day. It's a 2-hour business.
Wow.
It also goes against Tehillim every single day. He still does to this day.
Every day he says all of Tehillim? Is it still for Yoeli?
It's for Yoeli and for a lot of other people. I ran to Hashem, meaning that I gave tzedakah, charity. I prayed a lot, very much, all kind of different prayers for the success of my child as a Jew, you know. And I ran around to every professional person, and I have a list of them, over 70 people who were in the field of psychology and in the field of religion. What do we do?
What worried you the most?
I felt so sorry for him.
That what?
I felt so terribly sorry for him. My child raised in a Satmar house, how is he going to survive in this world that he wants to be in? He has no tools. He has no... He's just not going to make it. I was so afraid for him. I sat up every night. He used to come home 2 a.m. I sat by the window. And in those days, he was using the train. Every time the train arrived in the station over here, we live very close to the train station, I kept looking out and saying, is Yoeli coming? Is Yoeli coming? 2 o'clock, 2:30. I served him supper when he came home.
You didn't say anything? You didn't say, where were you?
No.
So he comes home and you...
And I tell him, Yoeli, I have supper for you. And I would talk to him, you know.
Like you'd ask him how the performance went?
I sometimes would ask him, where were you? Where did you perform? CBGB.
What does that mean?
It's a famous place.
Oh, really?
But he got to perform in CBGB. He made it.
Oh, really? What did you think?
Lo Yalaini, Hashem Yerachem, save me, Hashem, save my child, save my child, save my child. That was my refrain, save my child.
What were you afraid was going to happen? Drugs?
I didn't know. Anything. And he's going into a world that he has no knowledge of. And it's a world that doesn't have our values. And drugs are rampant, right? And alcohol is rampant. And just the kind of life that he was trying to live was so against the way he was raised. And he's never going to make it. I'm so afraid for him. I'm still afraid for him.
But so what happened?
Listen, I want to tell you, Frida, I thank Hashem that he's a mensch.
Yeah.
And he's a very, very nice person.
Yeah.
Very decent person. I thank Hashem that he's married to his wife, Hannah, who is a doll and whom I love to pieces. And I'm thankful to Hashem that he has 3 little girls. And I'm thankful to Hashem that he's going for his PhD in psychology. But all of this could have been done as a Yid. All of this could have been done as a Jew. I'm not talking about Satmar now.
You just want him to observe Shabbos.
I want him to connect to Hashem.
Pearl asked me here to clarify that she wants her son to want to connect to Hashem. Not that she wants him to connect to Hashem, but she wants him to want to.
I want him to be connected to Hashem, not to deny Hashem.
He's safe he has a place in the world. He has a lovely family. He has a career. It seems to me that he has.
You think he has it made?
He has it made, yeah. If I was
So I'm thankful for what he has. I'm very, very thankful to Hashem for what he has. But what he doesn't have is what I pray for. Do you know that after I found out what was going on with him, for 3 years I fasted every Monday and Thursday, and I beseeched Hashem to help him.
Did you?
Until I landed in the hospital.
Really?
Yeah. So I stopped. That's when I stopped.
Malnutrition?
No,
You're laughing.
not malnutrition.
Why did you land in the
I
hospital?
landed in the hospital. I had something. And I'm still beseeching Hashem for both of them. Now it's the two of them. Now it's the two of them.
Who?
Chana and
His
Yoeli.
wife.
They have a lovely marriage. They understand each other very well. They're very decent people, both of them.
They're lovely
And
people.
very, very close with our family.
Yeah. So,
But the
You know what-
tachlis, but Ayid, I want him to be a Jew. I mean, he is a Jew.
of course, he's a Jew.
but-
He sees himself as
He sees himself as a Jew. They both
as
see
a Jew.
themselves as Jews.
and
Yes.
they
But
do
I'm
raise
talking
the
about
children.
a believing Jew.
A believing Jew.
Yes.
You know, Pearl, if you don't believe, you can't make it happen.
That is not so.
Really?
Belief is not something that you're born with. I believe.
It's
So
like,
ask me why I believe.
why do you believe?
Because I learned a lot.
I see. It's a matter of education, is what
It's a
you're
matter of
saying.
education. I learned a lot. And if you have to be able to believe this on your own. You have to. But if you're afraid to learn, which I find secular people is, don't confuse me with the facts. If you ever want
That's
to talk
it.
to secular people, they don't, they're very, very, very close-minded. They think we're close-minded,
It goes both ways.
but they're very close-minded. And it's like, don't tell me anything. Don't confuse me with the facts. I don't want to know about it. My son is the same way. He doesn't want to hear. Doesn't want to know. I told you about my interesting experience with this guy in the Uber. I shared an Uber once with a guy I thought was a yuppie.
Go on.
And he heard me talking to my children. It was that sad day where the Jersey City killings occurred. And he heard me talking to my children. So he asked
Can you say what the Jersey City killings were?
two Orthodox Jews and a Mexican helper in the store who was shot down in a grocery store.
In Jersey City.
In Jersey City. So he heard me talking to my children about this and he asked me. So I asked him, are you Jewish? He said, yes. I didn't, you can't tell just by looking. I had this conversation and I asked him, as we talk, I asked him, is your wife Jewish? So he says, yes. I said, would you have married her if she wasn't Jewish? And he said, no. So I asked him why. I don't know. Doesn't know. So he says, but I made a bris. I made a circumcision for my baby. But I regret it, he tells me. I said, so why did you make the bris? He says, I don't know. So I tell him, you look like an educated person. You got married to a woman that you wouldn't have married if she wasn't Jewish. You'd made a bris for your child, and you don't know why you did these things? Why did you do this? Educate yourself. Find out why you did this. He said, nah, you have to believe. I told him, don't believe. Don't believe. Don't believe, but educate yourself. Find out. You did these things for a reason, and you don't know why. Find out why you did these things. So my son doesn't want me to educate.
He doesn't want to find out.
No.
What happened with the process of him sort of with you? Okay, let me ask it this way. Did you at any point in his coming out and you realizing he's not religious feel like I can't handle this? I want him out of my house.
Chas v'sholem. It's my child.
But you're a human being.
No.
You're suffering. You're fasting.
That's not about me, darling. It's not about me. It's not about my suffering. I'm Jewish.
Which
I'm
means
suffering.
what?
I'm suffering for him. I'm not suffering for me.
Uh-huh.
I told everybody my son is OTD. I didn't hide it. There was no shame in it. He used to come home. All the neighbors were outside. I never covered it up. Never hid it. I never said, I have a child that's OTD. No.
How did people react when like you would say, would people even have the vocabulary to talk to you about it?
Yes. They asked me, and I would tell them he's going to school. He used to bring his girlfriend here before they were married. We accepted them. The entire family was so loving to him. You couldn't be otherwise because he's such a fine person. He's such a decent person. He's such a nice person, Yoeli.
Yeah.
And he wasn't out to hurt us. But I saw that he was hurt. Nobody leaves. No child picks up and goes OTD if they're happy where they are.
Yeah.
There has to be a reason.
So that's the
Has to be-
journey he had
There has to
to.
be a tremendous unhappiness to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you say to the narrative from the outside that parents, children, often when children leave closed communities, they're shunned?
There is a factor that people are worried about the children still in the house. And also, not everybody who leaves is so nice like Yoeli. Some people, some of the kids who leave are out to hurt their parents. Yeah, they're out to show their
To
parents,
show that make a statement.
make their parents really miserable, and to get back at their parents. It wasn't in my case like this. So, but you know what? The prevailing idea is now is to be welcoming to these children. Don't throw them away. Don't throw them out. Be loving.
In your